Hello everyone, welcome to today's class. We will be doing conic section hyperbola, the last subtopic of this chapter. Okay. Now hyperbola is pretty much related with ellipse, okay, because the formulas will be very close to it, the equation will be very close to it, okay. And if you look at the shape, first of all, let's understand the shape of hyperbola. If you look at the shape, it's this. Okay, this one. If you look at the shape, it's nothing but like ellipse being divided in two parts, and instead of like this closed, it's open. First half of it, do the half of a ellipse and then open it on the both sides. Okay, turn it inside out like that. All right, still you have 2 points inside the hyperbola also, like ellipse, focus 1, focus 2. Okay, you can take any point on this hyperbola, any point. Okay, so let's say P1. This time, instead of addition, you will have the difference of the distance between these 2 points. Okay, the difference between this point and the 2 focuses, okay, means PF2 minus PF1. Okay, the difference of the distance of this point from both the focus must always be constant or same. Okay, you can take P2 also here, so P2F2 minus P2F1, or you can take point here also, it doesn't matter. Okay, the idea is that the difference of distance from the focus is constant, whereas in the ellipse the sum was constant. Okay, again you have the center, pretty much the 2 shapes. If you take center of that, that's your center of it, and the standard equation will have center at origin. Okay, then you have 2 axes. Earlier it was major and minor axis, now you have transverse and conjugate axis. Okay, transverse axis passes through hyperbola. Okay, conjugate axis is parallel to this parabola. Okay, all right. These are the first few important points. Next, in order to solve, like for ellipse, we had seen that what were the distances AA, BB, CC. So still the same thing, AA, BB, CC we have to see. Okay, so the vertex is always at a distance, so that means this distance is A, this distance is A. Okay, and focus, earlier also it was CC and now it's also CC. So one second, I'll highlight it. This distance is C, that distance is also C, so CC 2C distance. I'll highlight it anywhere else. C, C. Okay, B cannot be shown on this graph. Okay, so you have to consider only 2 things, A and C. B is not here. Okay. So vertex is at a distance AA, focus is at a distance CC. So again, very much related with ellipse. Now you see why it's related, because if you look at the equation, x square by a square minus y square by b square, instead of plus you have minus, instead of plus you have minus. Okay, either it will be x square by a square minus y square by b square, or it will be y square by a square minus x square by b square equals to 1. Okay, if you have first the coefficient of x and then y, it will be on x-axis. If you have first the coefficient of y, then negative x square, then it will be on y-axis. Means whichever variable is written first will be the main axis on which the hyperbola will cut, or basically your transverse axis. Okay, the axis that passes was transverse axis. Okay, all right, same thing we'll do here also. We'll talk about some parameters again very much correlated with ellipse, and then we'll look at the questions. Let's start. We'll talk about the same things. First is center. So for these equations, center is always 0, 0. Okay. O is the center basically. Okay. O is the center. The coordinate is 0, 0. Okay. Then you have vertices. Vertices will be at a distance of AA, to solve equations we'll use this idea AA. Okay, and the focus is at a distance CC. This distance is C. This distance is also C. Okay. So focus at plus minus a comma 0 because it's on x-axis, and in this situation it will be on y-axis, so 0 comma plus minus a. Focus or foci, okay, foci, I'll write. So focus is at c comma 0 plus minus on x-axis, it will be 0 comma plus minus c. This time it's on y-axis. Okay. Then length of transverse axis. So transverse axis, the length he's talking about is this length. How much is this length? Means how much is the distance between two vertices. So that's A8, so 2A. It's like length of major axis pretty much, 2A. Okay. Here also it is AA, so 2A. Same thing. Similarly, length of conjugate axis. Okay. So the B parameter represents the length of conjugate axis. Again, we cannot show conjugate where is the B, but that's length is 2B. Okay. Then you have eccentricity, one of the most important parameter. Okay. Eccentricity, E. The earlier formula was E was C by A. Still the formula is C by A. So good thing that you don't have to learn anything new. Eccentricity is still C by A. Lattice rectum earlier was 2b square by A. Still the same, 2b square by A. Okay. So good thing that you don't have to learn two separate things. Okay. What else? That's it. And what is the relation between A, B and C here? So instead of square root of A square minus B square it was in the ellipse, now you have plus. So if you look at very carefully, hyperbola and ellipse vary from one simple idea that instead of plus you are taking minus. Okay, in the equation it was plus, replace it with minus. C was A square minus B square, here it is C is a square plus b square, and this time there is no constraint on a, that a will be always greater than b. No, whatever written first, whether it is x square or y square, the denominator, the first denominator will be your a square, the second denominator will be your b square. Okay, so there is no such constraint that a has to be greater than b like we were doing in ellipse. So technically I'll say this one is even simpler than ellipse. Okay, so we have covered all the points here. Let's look at the questions now directly. The solving idea will be pretty much same. Okay, so I'll discuss few questions, then few questions for your practice. You can solve it on your own. Okay, so first equation is given x. If we compare it with standard equation, x square by a square minus y square by b square equal to 1. The moment we see this negative sign, we should know it's hyperbola, not ellipse. So let's calculate a first. A is 4, b is 3, and c is square root of a square b square. Okay. A square plus b square. So c is 5. Okay. Now he is saying find focus, vertices, eccentricity, length of rectus rectum. Okay. Again, I'm going to draw it slightly to help you understand. First x is written, so that means hyperbola is on the x-axis like this. Just draw like this. Okay. Symmetric. This distance is AA, and the focus is inside the hyperbola, and that is at a distance CC. This is important so that you can understand what will be the coordinate of focus and vertices. So foci will be on x-axis, that is C. Focus is always represented by C, so C is 5, so plus minus 5 comma 0. Vertices, these are the vertices. Okay, these 2 points, so they are at a distance A, so vertices will be A plus minus A is 4 comma 0. Okay, so that distance is 4 comma 0, focus is at plus minus 5 comma 0. Okay, then eccentricity. Okay, then I think rest everything is formula based, eccentricity and length of rectus rectum. So eccentricity is C by A, so C is 5 by A is 4. Okay, then what do we have? Lattice rectum, length of rectus rectum 2b square by A, b square, so 2 into 9 by A is 4, so 9 by 2 4.5. Okay, okay. Lattice rectum I haven't shown you. I'll show you in this diagram. This length, if we draw perpendicular passing through focus like this, this is lattice rectum, or in this scenario this will be lattice rectum. Okay, lattice rectum, I have highlighted it with green color so you can check. Okay, I'll erase it, this one. Let's go. The problem is there is so much information, so if you try to give every single information in one single shape, you have a lot of information. That's why it's better to have multiple shapes. Okay. That is lattice rectum. Okay, first one is done. Let's look at the second portion. Second question, again we compare it with standard equation, y square by a square. Okay, remember that first coefficient is always a in hyperbola. How do we know it's hyperbola? Because of this negative sign. Y square by a square minus x square by b square equal to 1. A is 3, b is root 27, so 3 root 3. Okay, root 27. No? C is a square plus b square, so 27 plus 9 36, 6 it will come. Now first variable, what is the first variable? Here it was x, so the major x or the transverse axis on which the parabola cuts was x-axis. This time y is written first, so if we want to see how this hyperbola will be, so it will be on y-axis, so that will be your transverse axis. Okay, Remember the words transverse and conjugate. What they can do is to confuse you in some particular question, they'll use those words. Okay. Again, same thing. AA, and focus is inside. Okay. This is the transverse axis on which hyperbola cuts. Okay. And this distance is C. So foci will be C comma, sorry, it's on y-axis na. So for y-axis 0 comma plus minus 6. Vertices are on x-axis, vertices are on y-axis but at a distance of A. So 0 comma A is 3, so plus minus 3. Eccentricity C by A, that's 6 by 3, that's 2. Okay. Latus rectum, that's 2 into B square, so 27 upon A is 3. So 27, so 3, 9 to 18. Okay. Whatever value we are getting accordingly. All right. So first two questions pretty much straightforward. Just remember that you have to understand in this order, so it makes it simple. First, decide its hyperbola or ellipse. Second, decides which is your transverse axis or which is the axis on which this hyperbola will be drawn. Okay. Then ABC you should know, and accordingly you will answer everything else. First, find ABC. Now the next question, not too much difficult, I'll say. Just one thing, that the right side is not 1. If I want to make it 1, I have to divide it by 36. Now this is the same concept that we used in ellipse also. So let's get the new equation. Y square by 4 minus x square by 9 is equal to 1. Okay. So once this is done, clearly it's on y-axis, so same kind of graph, so I'm not drawing it again. Okay. Because y is written first, so means every coordinate will be in terms of y. So A is first one always. Okay. That's 2. B is 3. Okay. A is the coefficient of first variable as such. There is no constraint that A has to be the bigger one. So A is 2, B is 3. Now foci is at on y-axis, so 0 comma C. C is, we haven't calculated C, so C is square root of A square, that's 4 plus 9, 13. Okay, you can calculate accordingly. So plus minus root 13. Vertices will be at a distance of A comma 0. Okay. So 0 comma plus minus 2. Okay. Remember that it's on y-axis. That's why the hyperbola is on y-axis. Then eccentricity again C by A, latus rectum 2b square by A. So nothing new as such. So C is root 13 by A is 2. This is 2 into B square is 9 upon A is 4. Again 9 by 2 is coming. Okay. B was, here also it was 9. Here also it is 9. A is 2. 2. Something is wrong. A is 4. A is 2, no? So 2 B square by A is 2. Now it's okay. 2 B square was 9, A was 2. A is, by mistake I've written 4, so change it. You get the value of lattice rectum as 9. Okay. Remaining questions, these 3, I think I can give you these as a practice. Okay. Same idea, nothing new in it. Same thing. Get the right side one, then identify what's your A, what's your B, on which axis it is there. Okay, so idea is A is equal to B is equal to C is equal to and axis of hyperbola on which it is drawn. That's it. If you can identify this, you can answer everything. No need to learn this table as such. Okay, don't learn it by heart. Just remember these formulas. Vertices, again, I'll recommend that you do it from analysis point of view rather than learning. Like for this x square by a square, it is plus minus a, y square by a square, it is 0 comma plus minus a. Don't try to learn it like that. Draw it to analyze and then solve accordingly. Next, let's look at few questions. This time for these questions you have to create equation of hyperbola. Okay, so he's given you vertices. Vertices is represented by A, focus is represented by C. So every time you see these kinds of questions, you need to find A and B, okay, as such for writing the equation. But first let's decide out of those two. See, we have two options, x square by a square minus y square by b square equal to 1, or we will be using y square by a square minus x square by b square equal to 1. Okay, so first thing is decide whether you'll use the first equation or the second one. Means that will be decided based on where your focus and where your axis is. If you roughly draw 7th question's hyperbola, the vertices are on the x-axis, means it will be like this. Focuses are also inside it on the x-axis. Now for this we'll use the first equation, x square by a square minus y square by b square equal to 1. For this we have to use this one. This is what you have to learn now. Okay, so let's solve the first one. Vertices are at minus 2 comma 0, 2 comma 0. Focus at 3 comma 0, minus 3 comma 0. Okay. This distance is 2, 2 is your A. This distance and this distance is 3, 3, that's your C. Or you can directly also tell that vertices are at a distance A, focus are at a distance C. This is just from analysis point of view, that how it is happening here. Now what do we need to write the equation? We need B. So let's find B. So C square equal to A square plus B square. Let's write that. Okay. Once we decided A is 2 and B is 3. So B square is nothing but C square minus A square. Sorry. B is not 3, C is 3. So 3 square 9 minus B square 4, 5. B square is 5, B is root 5. Okay. Once you get B as 5, I think now you know the equation. X square by A square is 2, 4 minus y square by B square is 5, 1. Okay. Don't have to actually draw this to understand. It's just that it makes understanding slightly better what's happening. Plus you can directly always do vertices are A, focus is at B. If they are on x-axis, you use this equation, first one. If they are on y-axis, use second equation. As simple as that. So I'll not be drawing any hyperbola now. I'll be doing it directly from MCQ point of view. Vertices A is 5, focus C is 8. They are on y-axis, so I'll use y square by A square minus x square by B square equal to 1. I'll use this and let's find B. So B square is C square minus A square. Directly I calculated it earlier also. So 64 minus 25. How much we got? 9 and 4. 49, na? 50. 49 or 39? I think it's coming 8 is 64, 14, 9, 5, 2, 3, 39, no, not 49. I was expecting 49 because it would have been good. It was a perfect square. Anyway, so b square is 39, so b is root 39. Now equation directly write down. So x is not x square, y square by a square, that's 25, minus x square by b square is 39, is equal to 1. Okay, that's your standard equation of hyperbola. Okay. Okay, so first two I've done, 7th and 8th. This is 9th question is for your practice. Try to solve on your own, same way. Okay. Oh, so many questions. These are again pretty much same style of information, different. 7, 8, 9. Oh, one second. I think I copied the question wrong. 1 second, I'll change it. Okay, now better. Again, 10th question. I'll not draw it now because we want to do this as quickly as possible in objective. So focus is at 5, 0. Okay, so 5, 0, first of all, it's x-axis. That means your hyperbola is also an x-axis. So we'll use the equation x square by a square minus y square by b square equal to 1. We'll be using this. Focus is C. So C is 5. Okay. He's saying transverse axis length is 8. What is the length of transverse axis? So in the case of hyperbola, this is distance is called the length of transverse axis. This is transverse axis AA. So the total length is 2a. That means he is giving us another condition that 2a is equal to 8. That means a is equal to, which implies a is 4. C is 5, a is 4. We can calculate b. C square equal to a square plus b square. Put the values, get the value of b. So 5 square is equal to 4 square plus b square. Solve it, you will get b as 3. Okay, and then put in the equation. What is the equation now? X square by a square. So that's 16 minus y square by 9 is equal to 1. Okay. Let's look at the next question, 11th. Focus again, this time focus is on y-axis. That means we'll be using the equation y square by a square minus x square by b square equal to 1. Focus is at C. So C is not root 13, 13. Sorry, C is 13. Length of conjugate axis. Now this you should remember that the conjugate axis length is 2b. We cannot show this on graph, but 2b is 24, which implies b is 12. Again, c square equal to a square b square. And if you know Pythagoras theorems and you know that 12, 13 and 5, they make Pythagorean triplet. So you can directly tell your a is 5. Okay. If you want, you can put down the values and solve. 13 square minus 12 square is equal to b square. Sorry, a square. So a is coming 5. Okay. Once you solve this, I'll show one step. A square is coming c square minus b square. So 13 square minus 12 square. So a is coming 5. So now equation y square by 25 minus x square by b is 12. So 144 is equal to 1. That's your equation. Okay. 12th. The 12th question says that the focus is at plus minus 3 root 5. Okay, again, the main thing you should look for is x-axis. On x-axis, if the focus is on the x-axis, that means we'll use the equation x square by a square minus y square by b square equal to 1. C is given to you as 3 root 5. Okay, this time lattice rectum is given to you. Okay, so lattice rectum is 2b square by a, that's 8. Okay, all right, let's see how we'll use this to find AB. This time I think directly neither A is available to you or nor B is available, na? Okay, from this information right now, this and this, we need to find A and B. Okay, so first thing is c square equal to a square plus b square, Pythagoras type. Okay. C is square root of a square b square, so 3 square 9 5 45 is a square plus b square. Now I already know that 2b square by a is 8. Let's modify it. Let's get the value of b square. B square is 8a by 2, so 4a. Replace this b by 4a, so I get 45 is equal to a square plus 4a. Get everything on the left. You have a quadratic equation in a square plus 4a minus 45 is equal to 0. This is a plus 9, a minus 5. Do the middle term splitting. What do you get? A as minus 9 and 5. Okay. Now you might think that A can come negative or positive also. Let's see and find out B accordingly. Okay, so if we solve this now further, B is B square is 4a, so B, I'll erase it one second. If A is equal to minus 9, then B square is equal to 4 into minus 9. B square is minus 36. B is not possible to find. Why? Because square of any number is always positive. That means it is going into complex number. Na? You have already studied complex number. Square root of 36. This is not a real number. It is complex number. So reject it. Okay. So I am rejecting this minus 9. Now if A is as such 5, I think that is okay, because B square is 4a, so 4 into 5, that's 20, so B is root 20. That's okay. Okay, A is there, B is there. Now that we have found A and B, let's give the final answer. Equation is x square by a square. A was 5. It was written na A that we have to take 5 now. So 5 is 25 minus y square by b square is again 20 is equal to 1. Okay. This was slightly better as a question. And understand why we rejected A as minus 9, because b square was 4a and it was not possible for square of any number to be negative. Okay. All right. Last 2 questions and this chapter ends here. Let's look at the question. He's saying vertices, again it's on x-axis, so equation will be x square by a square minus y square by b square equal to 1. Okay, he's saying eccentricity E. This time directly, instead of giving a and b, he is giving us c. Okay, E is 4 by 3, that's c by a. Okay, vertices is a. I think the question is simple now. Vertex is always a, na? So we know a is 7. Put the value of a here, or let's rewrite the conditions. A is 7 and E is 4 by 3, that's c by a if we further solve this, so 4 by 3 is equal to c by 7. So c is coming fraction 28 by 3. Weird value, but yeah, anyway, we got this as a value. Now we have to find b accordingly. Quite complicated, huh? Let me see. Alright, let's continue. Yeah, the value is okay anyway. I checked. So c is this fractional value. So let's calculate now b. So c square equal to a square plus b square. So yes, 28 is square plus a is 7 square plus b square. That's give you 784 by 9 minus 49. This as your b square. So 784 minus 450 minus 9, 441 upon 9 is b square. So this becomes 343. That's a good number, b square. Although we don't need to calculate b, but b is 343. That's cube of 7, not square. So won't make a difference anyway. So b, if we really want the value, so that will become 7 root 7 by 3. Okay. Anyhow, we have to write the equation. So now the equation is x square by a is 7, so 49, minus y square by b square. B square we already know, calculated from here, 343 by 9. So 343. If you want, you can take 9 in the numerator, is equal to 1. Okay. Slightly abrupt value, but yeah, that's it. Okay. Last one saying focus is at plus minus 0 comma plus minus root 10. So first thing I notice is that it is on y-axis. So that means hyperbola is on the y-axis. That means for this, let's take this answer here. So for the 15th question, the equation we have to use is y square by a square minus x square by b square equal to 1, because focus is on the y-axis. Focus is always represented by c, so c is root 10. Okay. Now he is saying that it is passing through 2 comma 3. If a particular point, or if hyperbola is passing through 2 comma 3, that means this lie on that curve and this point will satisfy this equation, like in ellipse we did now. So let's see. So 2 by, not 2, 3, you know, it's 3. 3 square is 9 by a square minus b x is 2, 4 by 9 by a square minus 4 by b square equal to 1. That's your first equation. Okay. And c is nothing but square root of a square plus b square. Okay. So if you try to get the second equation goes like this: a square plus b square is equal to 10. You have to solve these two equations somehow to get the value of a and b, and then find the equation accordingly. Now the only way this can be solved is by replacing the value. I don't think there is anything else you can do. Okay. So 9 by a square minus 4 by you can generate b square as 10 square minus a square. Okay, so instead you'll have 10 square, not 10 square, 10 minus a square, so 4 by 10 square, a square minus b square. And now take the LCM. So a square 10 minus a square is equal to 1. So this multiplied here, 90 minus 9a square minus 4a square. Okay. So 90 minus 13a square is, cross multiply this, 10a square minus a raised to power 4. Get everything on the left. A raised to power 4 minus 23a square minus, not minus, plus 90 is equal to 0. So we get some sort of equation in power 4 first of all. Not a problem. Why? If you look at very carefully, it is a raised to power 4 and then a square. For the time being, let a square is some y, or if you want you can take any other variable also, let's say p. So you will see this equation will be actually looking like this. If a square is p, then a raised to power 4 is p square minus 23p plus 90. Now you can see this is a quadratic. This is known as quadratic equation. This is known as biquadratic equation. Okay, you can solve that one also directly, or you can use this and solve. I hope everyone knows how to solve this, but just in case I want to solve this biquadratic. Same idea, do the middle term splitting like you were supposed to do here. It's just that I'm doing here directly, so I don't have to use this method purposely. So a raised to power 4, if I do the middle term splitting of this, 90 is 10 into 9, but doesn't make this. 90 is 18 and 5, so 18 and 5 will make this. 18 square minus 5a square plus 9t is equal to 0. So take common, you will get a square minus 18, a square minus 5 is equal to 0. So you get a square as 18 or 5. You don't have to get the value of a exactly again, because for writing the equation you need a square. Now again you have two values, you are not sure which one to take. Let's calculate b accordingly. So if a square is 18, then b square is 10 minus a square. So again 10 minus 18, b square is coming minus 8, which is negative. Again, not possible. Square of any number cannot be negative, so let's reject it. But if a square is 5, then b square is 10 minus a square. Okay, so that's again 10 minus 5, so 5. That's acceptable. So now finally your equation will look like x is not x square, no? It was y square. Okay, so let's erase it. Slightly lengthy question, but yes. Y square by a square. A is, we have considered to be 5, plus, not plus, minus, minus x square by a square. A square, x square by b square. B square is also 5, is equal to 1. Okay, that's your answer. Or you can take LCM, it's your call. Not a big step. And this question was lengthy. See, the maximum they can do is hide the information of a and b directly or indirectly. Okay, sometimes they give you, if they give you a and b directly or a and c directly, somehow you can calculate a and b accordingly. But if they give a relation between a and c, a and b, then you have to create equations to get the exact value of a and b, like in this question, like in the previous question, or the 12th one also. Here also you have to generate the equation, then replace b square by 4a to get this. Okay, all right, fine. That ends the chapter of conic section. We'll start with a new chapter in next class. Okay, so go through this, learn the fundamental equation and shapes. That's it. Only that particular part will be repeated in upcoming topics. This value calculation of eccentricity, focus and everything, nothing will be asked. It's just that you should know. If I say draw a parabola on x-axis, you should be able to know which equation to use. If I say draw ellipse on y-axis, you should know which equation to use. That's it. These kinds of things you should be able to comprehend, and you will be able to solve the upcoming application of this chapter. Okay, that's it from my part. Okay, so see you in the next class. Good day. Bye.